The Tennessee Titans go to SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. Can't come up with a win. Fighting until the end in a 17-14 loss to the Los Angeles Chargers. The Titans return home on Christmas Eve, 7-7 with 3 games to go in the 2022 season. This is Titans Talkback presented by League Company. All you need online at leaguecompany.com. 615-737-1045 is the number as we take your phone calls reacting to today's loss until 9 p.m. on The Zone. With Dr. Kevin Dyson, I'm Will Boling. And Dyson, that was one that they needed, and they fought, and they couldn't end up on the right end.
Man, I mean, I'm trying to analyze this game and pinpoint an area specifically you can say, oh, that was the cause of this game. Aside from still not able to put up many points in the National Football League, neither did the Chargers, right? So you gave yourself a chance to win. Injuries aside, in and out, guys, in and out, man, they're being hit by this injury bug unlike we've ever seen. I feel like it's just like every other play for like somebody was coming out. The resiliency of the players coming in, man, that was something truly remarkable to see, the resilience and perseverance of the team. But there's nothing you can look at specifically. Derrick Henry, 100-yard game, touchdown. Quarterback goes out with the injury. The rookie comes in, wasn't special, didn't do anything, but Tannehill comes back in. Offense still kind of sputters. There's some things offensively I still disagree with from a philosophy standpoint. I still don't understand why we're not utilizing quick game, getting the ball at Tannehill's hands, especially since the man has lost mobility when he went out with the ankle injury again. That still baffles me. Defense, they fought. I mean, they created 2 turnovers, and what a play by McCreary and Kalu, man. I mean, what can you say about that? It's a la Charles Woodson back in 98 when he, on his Heisman Trophy campaign, excuse me, all you Vol Nation fans, that's a bitter Heisman Trophy run, a little bit. But there were so many good things in this game, but yet so many bad. And it just, obviously, it balanced itself out right there in the middle, and you lose a game right there at the end of a close football game, 17-14. Unfortunately, there's and I'll be interested to hear some of these calls. What can you pinpoint on that we haven't already covered that is something that they addressed that looked good at times, but still struggling? Still, I guess the one thing you can say, no vertical threat again, but still made some plays in the passing game. You know, Okonkwo is still a guy who's making plays in the passing game a lot. Derrick Henry got involved. I mean, so there were some positives, but yet it's just, what is it? Like, there's just like leaving you wanting more. It's almost like that cliffhanger movie, and you're just sitting there. You're like really? That's it? Like, what's nothing else? Like, and that's kind of how I felt tonight. Just like this cliffhanger movie, just leaving me wanting more, and they couldn't give it, for whether it be the injuries, lack of offensive creativity, defense in and out of injuries, not making plays when they need to, but making plays often. It's just a game of wanting more, and just never got it, and obviously ran out of time there at the end.
615-737-1045, the number if you want to jump in. Lots to discuss at a 17-14 win for the Los Angeles Chargers over the Tennessee Titans. 615-737-1045. Chase in Bellevue leads us off tonight on the phone lines. Hey, Chase.
Hey, guys. I just wanted to say tighten down.
Uh-oh.
I'm just kidding, baby. Tighten up. And I'll tell you why. We've got a 1-game lead on the division, 7-7. Jacksonville 6-8. We've got a healthy quarterback who's tough as nails, and he doesn't give up. We've got also a running back who is the best in the NFL. I do want to make a point, though. We come home against Houston next week, and our home crowd needs to show up. It's time. The last time the Titans have won a playoff game was a Joe Nedney kick. A home playoff game. Joe Nedney was the last time the Titans have won at home. Before that, the only other time was the Music City Miracle. The Titans fans need to stay positive, because negativity is not the answer.
Thank you for the call, Chase. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I think I was on the team when both of those.
Nice. That's right. 615-737-1045. Didn't expect a positive call as our first one tonight.
Yeah.
We go to Hunter in McMinnville up next tonight on the phone lines. Hey, Hunter.
How you doing, guys?
Good.
Good. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. So, I know you got a bunch of calls today, so I'll be real quick. One, Mike Vrabel said that they're going to fire Todd Downing at the end of the season, and I think they need to do that. He's the worst offensive coordinator in the NFL. Do you agree?
Thanks for the call, Hunter. Mike Vrabel never said he was going to fire Todd Downing at the end of the season. Mike Vrabel said no coaching changes will be made during the season. I thought this was a poorly called game on offense, Dr. Dyson, and I think specifically 2 3rd-down-and-2s where the Titans chose to throw the football instead of running against the number 28 run defense of the league was the wrong decision.
Well, I'll say this about that. Sometimes you overthink it. You could definitely overthink it. But the consistency in the running game, it would leave me, if I was a play caller, with uncertainty too, right? Like, I don't know if I'm going to get the push. As we saw there at the end, at the right there near the that last scoring drive they had, short field they didn't get but a yard. So it begs you to second guess your play calling when your offensive line is in and out of injuries, in and out of consistency. So I'll give him a quote unquote pass for that hesitancy. Plus, 3rd and 2 to 5 are those gray area play callers. Could you run the football? It depends on how it's going for you. But a lot of teams tend to pass on 3rd and 2, 3, 4, and 5. Reason being, percentages go up dramatically because of that. So if they're talking about the Derrick Henrys of the old or even earlier in the year when the offensive line seemed to be getting more push in the run game, I think that would have been his play. Right now, I just think he's uncertain on how the offensive line is going to respond, so he's just grasping at straws. I don't see any continuity in the offense. I think they're just trying to find things to work. I think Vrabel said it best. We seen when they got the drive going, it seemed like everybody was on the same accord, even a play caller, and that's why you were seeing them being fluid in their offense, and they went down the field and got a score. And we hadn't seen much of that in the past month of the season.
Chargers sacked Ryan Tannehill 4 times today, and the Titans went 3 and out 3 times in this game. They still lead the NFL in 3 and outs on offense this season. Not a stat you want to be in front of, and ultimately things are tough on this offense when you're unable to block Kyle Van Noy and Khalil Mack and guys that are getting their first career sacks against this team. And just when you thought you had a different plan at left tackle and Dylan Radins rotates in at the beginning of the second quarter and is able to split some time with Dennis Daly, I think this team really wants him to take over that spot. I think this team wants anybody else to take over that spot.
Yeah.
He goes out with a knee injury, and Dennis Daly has to finish this game again at left tackle, and he struggled.
Struggled again. I mean, I tell you what, I'm happy to see Dylan get out there because I think he's now become whatever you want to call it, lesser of two evils.
Right.
At this point, right? What do we have to lose? If we have now put this season into a 3-game bag, it's 3 games with that last one being a flex game now, it looks like that they're going to decide what time of the schedule they play it. But the fact that he can't hold up and protect, and these 4 sacks. Now, let me give them a positive spin on this.
Sure.
4 sacks. Of those 4 sacks, if Tannehill is healthy, is he able to escape some of those? Maybe.
At least the last one.
Maybe the last one, right? So that might help him, but that still doesn't help the inadequacies of the edges. Both tackles got beat a little bit today, especially Daly, and it's just a continual process of every week we're singing the same song. His confidence is shook. I think they're in his ear. The coaches are on him. He sees it. He's hearing fans talk about it. I mean, it's in his head now at this point. He's going to have to let all that go and buckle down because they need him. They're going to have to find. I noticed today they ran to the right a lot when typically his offense always run to the left. So now that's Taylor Wan was in the game, but they ran to the right side a lot today. They didn't even run to his side a lot. So that speaks volumes to me as well.
615-737-1045, the number tonight on Titans Talkback if you want to jump in. We go to Sean in Kentucky up next on the phone lines. What's going on, Sean?
Hey, guys. I never would have thought in another year that we would have a must-win game to at least stay in the hunt for the playoffs against the Houston Texans. But here we are. Let's take care of business. Let's get this done. Because you know Dallas is going to be coming in after they got embarrassed by the Jags today. Let's get it done Christmas Eve against the Texans. Tighten up.
Thank you for the call, Sean.
I think beginning of the year, you might have said it. You said 9-10 wins. I think they still on target for that. I mean, obviously health aside, this Texan game is huge. They just came off a close one with the Chiefs. This is a must win at home, Christmas Eve. Like the first caller said, man, everybody got to show up and show out. They need that extra energy, man. They need something. They're fighting. That's one thing you can't say about this team. They are fighting. It's not like they're just laying up there laying eggs.
Right.
Some of it is just a lack of talent compared to the guy across from him in certain positions. And we named one of them being the tackles. They're struggling a little bit. But some of this is they just hurt, man. They trying to patch together a team and trying to find a win in here somewhere. But they got to come back, put their hard hat back on, man, go to work this week, come out, try to still get a win on Saturday.
615-737-1045, the number tonight on Titans Talkback if you want to jump in. I think that's the difficult part of these last three games is that Houston took Kansas City to the brink today.
Yeah.
At home. Took them to overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Every game in the noon window, a single score game today in the National Football League. It's like they saw how good the soccer game was this morning, and the NFL said, nope, yeah, we're still going to one-up that. That's right. But Houston is a must-win game on Saturday because you cannot afford to go into Jacksonville and Dallas as the last two games of the season having to beat Dallas.
Yeah.
As good as that team is. And it's the Dallas Cowboys in December, right? I mean, it's Mike McCarthy, and they made some decisions today, and just as a whole that, you sometimes scratch your head at this late in the year, but that's a really good football team. And you can't let Houston get you at home 2 years in a row. And looking at Jacksonville's schedule, they're a game behind you with 3 weeks left. Jacksonville goes to New York this Thursday night on Thursday Night Football. They go to MetLife Stadium to take on the Jets. Then they go to Houston on New Year's Day, and then they will host the Titans in Week 18 to finish off the season, which at least now is going to be a later kickoff and perhaps an AFC South championship game on primetime again.
Yeah, of those teams, I'm going to go with the Cowboys for a second because of their pass rush. That is going to be hell on wheels for the Titans that don't get this thing figured out because they got one of the best young pass rushers in the game, one of the best young defensive lines in the game, which has made their corners pretty good. I mean, not that the corners are not talented, but it's easy when them guys get out the quarterbacks like they are. Now, our offense, they have some talent on offense as well. Houston, this coming week, with a stranglehold on the division, a team that has been struggling, who is now ready to go on vacation, you have to come out and throw body blows and ready to throw that haymaker late in the game to put them out. I just think watching some of the highlights from the Chiefs game and things of that nature, you can go into a sleepy moment, just lazy, just think you're going to sleepwalk through a victory when a team is struggling like the Texans have. And it shows you by that time they got the old momentum. They got all this stuff. Now you get in a dogfight that you probably shouldn't have been in. And the Chiefs, a good football team, found a way to overcome that and get the victory. Now, can the Titans do that? I think they got to go out and establish themselves early and put up points. We keep saying that they have to find ways to put up points. These 14, 13, 12, 19-point games, man, they got to get over there, 24, 27, 30-point game. They need an offensive outburst at this point in the game, man. And you said it, the National Football League, more often than not, because it's so balanced, I don't care if it's a 1-13 team or a 13-1 team, for the most part, most of these games are going to be within a possession.
Right.
Almost every time. And that's how balanced these are. That's why we say, or anybody would tell you, You can look at teams record, oh, they suck, but it doesn't matter because these are still professional athletes who are best at what they do, regardless of what team they're on, what uniform they're on. Some teams are just gelling better. Some teams have more talent at different positions at that time, depending on injuries than others. And it just becomes one of those things. Like Vrabel said, we were all on the same page for once. It's been a long time. Offense coordinator, line, and running backs, and everybody was on the same page. And you get teams that do that over the course of a season, they usually are the ones left standing. So this is every game. We say it. This is the most important game again.
Sure is.
This is the most important game of the year.
Gotta have it.
Gotta have it.
Right. 615-737-1045, the phone number tonight on Titans Talkback, presented by Lead Company. Lead Company, all you need, online at leadcompany.com. On the other side, much more of your phone calls. We'll get to Drew and Eric first up, are on the other side as we recap a 17-14 win for the Los Angeles Chargers over the Tennessee Titans. The Los Angeles Chargers beat the Tennessee Titans 17-14 tonight in SoFi Stadium. The Titans are 7-7 with 3 to play. We take your phone calls until 9 o'clock this evening on 104.5 The Zone. With Kevin Dyson, I'm Will Boling. This is Titans Talkback, presented by Lee Company. Lee Company, all you need online at leecompany.com. And we go next to Drew in McMinnville on the phone lines, reacting to this loss with us. Hey, Drew.
Thanks, fellas. Hey, I just got to say, first off, what about that World Cup soccer game? Hey,
great. Thank you, Drew.
Yeah, if they want to get Americans to watch soccer, that's probably the kind of game that you need to have. But yeah, I don't want to say the Titans. Hey, they fought hard all game, and hey, I'm proud of them. And hey, Doc, I wanted to ask you, what do you think about the Ute stance in the Rose Bowl? Hey, tighten up.
Thanks, Drew.
I'm definitely going to be a homer on that one.
I love that.
Just like the trend across the country, if you're not in that last 4 playoff, a lot of guys that have a lot riding on the pre-draft process are sitting out. So 2 All-Americans are, amongst others, are sitting out for the Rose Bowl. Both of them, one's our shutdown corner, one's one of the best tight ends in the game and the go-to. So we'll see. I think we still got enough talent to win, especially defensively. So, but it's going to be rough.
Yeah, that's right. 615-737-1045, the number. Eric in Nashville up next tonight on the show. Hey, Eric.
Hey, guys. I was able to watch the first half. Couldn't, unfortunately, watch the second half because I had to go to my church for a Christmas program. But I had a little miniature radio, and when the program ended, I went off to the side and was able to hear the last 3 minutes of the game on the miniature radio. Applaud the plays the Titans fought and came back, but, of course, hated the ending where the Chargers drilled down and got that last second field goal. But I'm proud of this team the way they fought. Also, the toughness of Ryan Tannehill. What can you say? I know there's been earned a lot of criticism, but getting that ankle injury, getting taped up, and then coming back in, just fought his guts out. And as Vrabel said, I agreed with him. I thought that Tishner Brown and Malik Willis was a questionable call. And also, there was another kind of ticky-tack holding call where I think it was Derrick Henry. I think the second quarter had a good run where he got 10 yards, and they called the holding call Austin Hooper, and they showed the replay of it. And I've seen worse that wasn't called. I actually thought that was a very questionable call. And, guys, like I said, I'm planning to be there Saturday for the game. The thing, though, that does worry me is the impending weather that they're seeing, whether they talk about bitter cold, possibility of snow, and also being Christmas. Hopefully the fans will show up, but it's just that's the only thing that really worries me, guys. Y'all take care, tighten up, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Eric. Yeah, the low is 6 degrees on Saturday.
Woo!
6 degrees.
Man, there's not enough space heaters, seat heaters, torches. What are those little things on the sidelines with the blows out the heat, man?
Uh-huh.
It's not enough of those right now. Oh, my goodness, 6 degrees?
You ever had 6 degrees in Utah?
Yeah, unfortunately. And we made it through.
Ridiculous.
It is.
You will do that.
That's some freezing cold, man. But I'll say this, man. One thing I said in the opening was this game was like it was like a suspenseful movie. There was a lot of positives in it. And you're thinking, I mean, quarterback came back from injury after injury. Guys coming back. They fought hard, made great plays, got a nice pick, 2 great picks, if you will. Really was shutting down the Chargers offense, except for a couple plays here and there. Like, it's just, this was a game of almost, or just like man, like they fought hard. It's just a weird loss, man, in a lot of sense. It wasn't a domination. It wasn't a complete separation from one team from the other. It was a good, hard-fought football game with not a whole lot of dynamic plays, except when they needed them. Both teams made big plays when they needed them in crucial moments, especially there late in the fourth quarter. So, so I hope the fans show up, man. I'm over here complaining, and I'll probably be sitting in the suite. But I just, throwing that out there to everybody, let them know I'll still be warm. But I'll be there.
The coldest game in Nissan Stadium history was that 2017 New Year's Eve game against Jacksonville, when Marcus Mariota stiff-armed Barry Church on the last drive in order to win a playoff spot for the Titans. And that day, that was 23 degrees on that day. The forecast Saturday says it will be 20 with a low of 5. on Sunday, or 6, or whichever one it was. At that point, cold is cold.
Cold is cold. And you shouting with 70,000 people with you, man, it warms you up a little bit.
That's right.
Get some hot cocoa.
615-737-1045. Corey and Brentwood up next tonight on Titans Talkback. Hey, Corey.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Great.
Good. How you doing, man?
Doing good. Just a couple of things I wanted to get your thoughts on. First, the GM, whenever our new GM is announced, I think day one, job one for them is going to be figuring out why we are consistently one of the most injured teams in the NFL. As important as the draft is, as important as free agency is, none of that really matters if none of the players you get in those processes can stay on the field. Secondly, I was wanting to get y'all's idea on what if we went just way more shotgun from the get-go. Just our offensive line is so bad, man. They look like greeters at church, just shaking hands with the defensive linemen as they run past them.
Yeah.
At least then Tannehill has a second or two to try and find somebody on a short slant or something before he gets nailed. But I'll hang up and listen. Thanks, y'all, for what you do.
Thanks, Corey.
Shotgun is part of it for me, and I think so, especially if his ankle, like today, that drop back and that pressure, those extra steps. But, again, I get it. You got to call your offense. But my thing, more so than that, is getting the ball out of his hands. I mean, the fact that the line can't protect him, or consistently anyway, he's been under duress a lot. And then you throw in the ankles injuries. He's injured both of his ankles at this point and then re-injured or made it worse, whatever. We'll find out later this week what it was today. Quick game. Dump it off. Use those at extended running plays. You know, we saw some stuff in the screen game. We saw a couple of things Derrick Henry in the flat. But aside from that, get the guys the ball in their hands pretty quick. Do some things real quick. Help the quarterback out. I just felt like we still was sitting back there in that 3-5 set-step drop offense, and he just really couldn't move, still trying to do flash fakes and things like that. He couldn't plant. There was a lot of times you can tell he was using all arms to throw the football. He couldn't plant. He couldn't seal that deal or follow through on that throw, man, and it was really affecting him, his accuracy today. But he's a resilient guy, still made plays.
There's no doubting the guy's toughness, and, I mean, I almost felt bad for him.
Right.
At one point in this game. I mean, he has no number one target to throw to. There's nobody to protect him. He's playing on a bad ankle. Ryan Tannehill didn't deserve this.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't have his best game, but there's no singular moment you point to and say, oh, Ryan Tannehill needed to be better in this exact moment. I had people tweeting at me saying, oh, he's holding on to the ball too long. Really? I don't think there was a single time he held on to the ball too long. When the play breaks down, he just doesn't have the ankle to cut and to get away from defenders. And defenders are right in his face. I mean, Aaron Brewer on the sack that he got beat on was as bad as it's been this year.
When the guy was in the wide 9, he extended out and got beat inside again?
It's not only the issue that, the problem that you've got new pieces in this offensive line that just haven't been what you hoped that they would be. The two worst ones are next to each other. Mm-hmm. The left side of the offensive line is a concern right now for the Titans, and it's not getting any better week in and week out. It's the exact same result doing really a lot of the same things.
Yeah.
You got to piece this together in some way and try some new things against Saturday against Houston. Otherwise, Ryan Tannehill is going to be under attack again.
Yeah. When was the last time they scored 24 points? Was it Houston?
Should be Green Bay.
Green Bay, that's right. I'm sorry, I forgot. I forgot about Green Bay. I feel like that was the beginning of the year, so I feel like so long ago. I mean, this game was oh man, just waiting on something else to explode. It was just right there. Tannehill, again, resiliency. I felt like his struggles came from his injury. He couldn't really plant and throw. He was trying to use all arms and shoulder motions. And for all y'all that play sports, you know you have to be able to use your legs and just about everything you do when related to sports. And I don't feel like he had that because he couldn't power through the throw and plant and do those things that you need to be an accurate quarterback. But he showed a fight. Now, the two tight ends, they continue to grow. Are they bona fide number one targets? Not too many tight ends are in the National Football League. You can probably name 2 or 3, maybe 4. Andrews, Kelsey, my man in San Francisco.
Kittle.
Yep. You know, maybe those 3 are bona fide number one targets as far as tight ends are concerned. So to your point, who is that guy that's a go-to in critical moments on the edges? We had a guy before he got back hurt that was closing in and making strides to be that guy, but until he comes back from concussion, we still had to do it by committee when you talk about converting big plays and third downs. And today I felt like those guys did, in critical moments, step up and make some plays, especially a Cockwell. He made a big play again. He continues to do. Hooper made a big catch again today. So they are finding ways to make plays, but it's not translating to points. It's like the drive is stopping. And again, there's so many things that, from my opinion, and I'm sure these callers' opinion, your opinion, that they can do that we feel like they're not doing. And again, we're all not watching film and things of that nature that they're doing on a regular basis. But to me, I'm just like, how are you going to help out Tannehill? The man is running for his life for the most part. Today, he couldn't even move, and you still was going 5-7 step drop instead of getting rid of the ball. Now, it worked out in that last drive.
Right.
But think about it. 2 of those plays were to Derrick Henry. Wasn't like it was vertical.
Right.
So, again, it's like 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other. You see some good things, but it's still leaving you wanting more.
And the issue you're continuing to have is that Derrick Henry is putting up 100-yard games that is looking more like himself again, yet there is no one else around him to complement the good that he's doing. I mean, he had 163 scrimmage yards today in his 100th career game, 104 on the ground, 59 receiving. And on the touchdown drive at the beginning of this one, he had every yard on that drive. He had all 63 yards. On the second quarter touchdown drive, with Ryan Tannehill came back into the football game, just needs help. And Chig Okonkwo looks like the final late-round gift from John Robinson to the Titans organization. Yeah. That's always going to be remembered as a strength of his. But he needs help. I mean, at this point, they're handing the ball off to Chig Okonkwo as a running back on third down and 22.
Trying to create offense.
Because Dontre Hilliard's not there, and there's so many early pre-snap penalties and holding penalties and another chop block that – there's a chop block on the first play of the game today. Like, this offense just isn't built to play from behind. They scratched and clawed and figured it out today. Yeah. Ultimately, but they're really not made to be behind the chains. And this offensive line cost them some points on a number of occasions today, and are not helped by the fact that there just isn't that playmaker on the outside.
Yeah. I'll say this. Yeah, Derrick Henry seemingly has gotten off of the bench, if you will, and had 200-yard games. But philosophically, what hasn't happened as much as it was prior to, which I don't know why anybody would change it. Maybe they felt like they can do it with 4 down linemen. These last 2 weeks, they've been going more with an even front or 4 down linemen compared to the previous teams who were going more 5 and 6 down linemen. So it's being able to create more running lanes as opposed to going hat for hat, which is surprising by me because people have given the blueprint to slow down Derrick Henry. So I was watching San Diego today. They were doing some gap schemes and some stunts and things of that nature, looking like the B gap we open and somebody stunting into it. They were doing some different things trying to create. So maybe there's a lack of confidence in some of their guys on the back half of their defense that they felt like they can't go with that extra D lineman. And I can't speak for Jacksonville, but this is him getting going. It shows you it's not just about one player. It's a team sport, and you need all the cogs to be working. Yeah, it'd be nice if he's running for 200 yards and you can move the chains, but you got to have all the pieces in order for it to have success, especially on offense. You got to have some other cogs, other tools in your belt, man, be able to have some success. And right now, those other pieces have been inconsistent. And again, I like what you said about Okonkwo. I think he is a late round gem. He's developing right in front of our eyes, and a lot of it's because he has to, because he's been thrown into that position. But he's taking that and relishing in the moment and growing from it, and that experience is going to help him grow from year 1 to year 2 to year 3 and things of that nature.
615-737-1045, the number tonight on Titans Talkback. We go next to Andre in Nashville on the phone lines. What's going on, Andre?
Hey, what's up, guys? Kevin Dyson, big fan, man. Big fan of the OG.
I appreciate you, man.
man, the O-line, man, it's crazy. I've never, just watching football in my lifetime, never seen the left tackle being alternated. Like, I've never seen a rotation at left tackle. That's crazy. And the left side is just horrible. Brewer is undersized. He gives it his all, but, man, what are we going to do when this season is over? Lawan is not coming back. Hopefully he does. But that's the left side we have to plan for, and I don't see any way that gets fixed next year, honestly. And Braden, let him play. I know he got hurt, but why not just let him play the whole game? Why are we rotating the left tackle? But that's it. Tighten up, nation. We're gonna get the next dub, the next team, next game. Just got to be optimistic and believe that this team's gonna get it done. But yeah, let's get it.
Appreciate the call. Thanks, Andre.
Now, I have been saying that for a while. Just how bad, or maybe I should say that. How much lack of confidence do they have in Radens that the guy in front of him daily was playing so bad that you still weren't getting any run. That, you know what I mean? That's telling. But then he got in today and, got hurt. That's unfortunate because I'm with the caller. At this point, put him in there. You drafted him. Let's see what he could do. And if it's as bad or worse, well, now you know. Now you can move forward with it. But we don't know that yet. We haven't seen a big sample size of him, especially at the tackle position, which he says he's more comfortable in playing.
One quote coming from Ian Rappaport of NFL.com just a couple of seconds ago, talking about Ryan Tannehill and his comments post-game about his injury. Tannehill saying, whatever the top rating was on the pain scale, it was that. And then said once the initial test came out okay, said it was in my head just to see where I was at. I was in a lot of pain, but was able to get back out there and play.
Mm-hmm. Or his ankle going to be ballooned up. That pressure of that flight.
It's a long flight back home.
Long flight home.
And you got a short week to get ready for Houston. The last time this happened against Denver, Ryan Tannehill finished that game. Not Denver. It was before Denver at that point. He was back for Denver. When Ryan Tannehill got hurt against Indianapolis.
Yeah.
He was able to come back, finish that game, and Malik Willis got to start the next Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
That was at a normal week's rest, a normal week of preparation. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Ryan Tannehill can't go on Saturday against the Houston Texans.
I'm with you on that. And I think Coach Mack posed that question on the post call. He says, or maybe it was Mike Keith, that said, is this a stretch knowing that the end against Jacksonville is probably going to be for the division? Is this a stretch and when you try to potentially rest a few guys and let them heal up on a short week because you're playing 3 games in 11 days, I think is what it is?
That's right.
And so is this an opportunity that you may sit out, like you said, a Tannehill and play Malik and maybe some guys on the defense side of the ball that you can maybe get in and get through this or split up the reps? I don't know what the plan is just yet, obviously, but is this an opportunity with 3 games in 11 days coming that on your horizon?
And with an entire week to get him ready to play.
Yeah.
This is not performance-based for Ryan Tannehill at all. This is not me saying, Tannehill wasn't good today, you should bench him.
I mean, he had good numbers again.
He was okay. I mean, he's 15 to 22 for 165. He sacked 4 times, 1 interception, a quarterback rating of 71.2. Malik Willis was 3 for 4 for 20 yards. And ultimately, Malik Willis is a better fit to play behind this offensive line because when you're running for your life, I would rather have a 100% Malik Willis than a 30 to 40% Ryan Tannehill with bigger games on the horizon.
Yeah, because today was one of those times because Tannehill can run as well, one of those times where his lack of mobility really helped the Chargers because if he was able to escape to the pocket a couple of those, I believe he probably would have. Then that extends drives. So you never know what happens from that. It's 3rd and long, and he converts a long 3rd down. Now you still moving the chain. You got things going. He was unable to do that today.
Right.
At all. He just was sitting back there as a statue trying to get rid of the football. Couldn't plant, couldn't finish throws. He had some accuracy issues, but that's understandable considering what he was battling out there today.
615-737-1045, the number tonight if you want to jump in on Titans Talkback. We go next to Adam in Portland on the phone lines. Hey, Adam.
Hey, buddy. Hey,
I'm usually a little more chipper than this week, man. So don't hold it against me. But I'm just ticked off tonight, man. Like I'm so. Usually I'm like, oh, my guys gave an effort. So I'm just so disappointed in our organization right now. Like where we are as a whole, the fact that you trot those receivers out there on the field. Dice, I don't even know how old you are, Dice. I would have took you as my one today over anybody they put on the field. Like at 50-something years old, I would take you out there right now.
Hey,
like,
wait. Don't put them years on me just yet. I'm 47.
Principal. How do you put that group out there, man? Like, it's so frustrating. As a fan, as an investor in your franchise, you put that offensive line out there. I'm not even saying anything negative about Tannehill. I'm saying he's a game manager. That's what we've had since we got him. That's what we needed when we had Mariota. We just need somebody to manage the game. We got a Hall of Fame running back. Let's have a game manager. Well, everything else has to work around him. You got to have good receivers around him. That's how that stuff flows like that, man. I know we need Danico. I know we need David Long. We need the two receivers, Phillips and Burks back. But, God, dude, it feels like we're in some type of purgatory with this team. We're not sorry enough to get good players in the draft, and we're not good enough to be competitive in games like this. It's just really frustrating as a fan.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Adam. Appreciate it.
The purgatory statement, hanging in the middle, is, I guess, is what he's referring to. That, you know, and I say in the middle of the draft, the 15 to 20 range-ish, that's where the Titans have lived of late in the draft. I personally, if you're in that 1, 2, or 3 range consistently, as we've seen Jacksonville of late and things of that nature, I would much rather be in the 15 to 20 range consistently than consistently in the 1, 2, 3, or 4 range.
Sure.
Now, there's some things to say that. You can get somebody like a Trevor Lawrence who's trending like he's going to be a long-time franchise quarterback for that franchise, similar to Andrew Luck was for the Colts after Peyton Manning. Like, you know, you talk about Mahomes, he wasn't a top 5 pick, but you talk about franchise quarterbacks and things of that nature. Now, again, people, please understand, I'm not saying anything negative about Tannehill. I think Tannehill did his part. I'm just saying his relationship to the draft and prospects, and typically what's up there in them top 3, 4 picks is usually what you're trying to get as a franchise quarterback, usually, especially 1 and 2. Then you're talking about an edge pass rusher or the best tackle or left tackle in the games. Usually your top 5, you know, is what teams typically. Now, every now and then there's a special athlete, like a dynamic corner or receiver or a running back, which we hadn't seen a whole lot of recent. But more often than not, it's those 3 positions that go top 5. Of those 3, pass rusher, edge rusher, quarterback, and left tackle, which one do you put a premium on right now that you want that 1, 2, or 3 pick?
Right.
And to me, it's I guess left tackle, because we don't know what Taylor Lewan's going to have with Taylor Lewan coming off the injury.
Or you move NPF to left tackle and wait a little bit longer and get a right tackle.
Get a right tackle.
Which is a little bit easier to do.
Yep.
I mean, you got a lot of big decisions to make, and we don't know who's going to be making them.
Yeah. Oh, God, I forgot about that. I forget about that.
I know.
Dang.
It's the difficult part of where the Titans are at this point. And you can join us to discuss that and much more tonight on Titans Talkback until 9 o'clock at 615-737-1045 here on Titans Talkback, presented by Lee Company. Well, also time right now for our Kroger Sacks for Cash. And tonight, the Titans had 3 sacks, 2 from DeMarcus Walker. Good day for him in Los Angeles. 1 from Jeffrey Simmons. And for the season, Kroger's donation to Second Harvest Food Bank of Middle Tennessee now stands at $4,300, courtesy of those 3 sacks today. Every time the Titans sack the opposing team's quarterback, Kroger donates $100 to Second Harvest Food Bank of Middle Tennessee through its Zero Hunger, Zero Waste plan. Kroger is committed to ending hunger in our communities. 615-737-1045, the number. X will lead us off on the other side of the phone lines, where you can join us much, much more for 60 more minutes on Titans Talkback, 1045 The Zone. The LA Chargers beat the Titans today, 17-14 in Los Angeles. Titans are 7-7, getting ready for a Christmas Eve showdown with the Houston Texans. Going to be a big one in a big 3 games remaining for the Titans, who have lost 4 in a row. Alongside Kevin Dyson, I'm Will Boling. Brett Batchelor making the show happen for us tonight here on Titans Talkback, presented by League Company. The Titans trust their home stadium to League Company to tackle their HVAC, plumbing, and electrical problems. They can protect your home, too. Your next play, visit LeagueCompany.com. That's League Company, all you need. 615-737-1045 is how you jump in on the conversation. We go first to X in Antioch, beginning hour 2 of our coverage tonight. What's going on, X?
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing tonight?
Great.
Good, man.
I got 2 things. For one, I understand we got like a lack of talent on the roster, but when it's 2nd and 3 and you decide to do a passing play which gets you a flag which moves it back to 3rd and 7, or when it's 3rd and 3 and you decide to throw a pass 15 down the yards, that's got I understand that we can't put it all on the offensive coordinator, but they got to give verbal like they did Malarkey. Either you got to have fire or you got to go with them. Because, you got to understand what you got on the field. It's like if you playing, if we playing and it's 17-17 with 8 seconds left and, we at the 5-yard line, why we gonna throw a pass instead of just run the ball, boom, kick a field goal? It's the small stuff that's coming from the coaching that I feel like they should be able to put the boys or the men into a position to where we should be able to win instead of 3rd and 3 and Tannehill's bruised up. Why are you going to throw the ball? Well, go ahead and give it to Derrick Henry. Put the tight end, the rookie tight end at the fullback position, and they're stacking a box. So if they're and that play, they all went into the inside. So why not go to the outside? That's all I got to say. Y'all have a good day.
Thanks for the call, X. Appreciate it.
Well, and I think you had similar sentiments, and I'll say this. They're trying to anticipate things as you try to make play calls. If he knew they were going outside at the prior to making the call, he absolutely would have made that call. But the big thing is on those down and distances, as you mentioned, you mentioned it too, Will. I think a lot of it comes back to lack of confidence in what the offensive line is able to do right now. They're unsure, so you pick maybe a higher percentage play from their standpoint based on timing, based on maybe some film study and some things, the coverages that you may get, maybe personnel. I don't think they have confidence right now to get those hard yards. I don't think they have it. And I think that's why you see decisions on 3rd and short to go with a spread look and run passing plays. I just don't think they feel like they can get those tough yards right now. They don't have the confidence in the offensive line. They moved a pile like that.
615-737-1045, the number tonight on Titans Talkback. We go next on the phone lines to Tony in Nashville, giving his thoughts on today's loss. What's going on, Tony?
Hey, everybody's all right. I'm doing pretty good. My wife likes me today, so I'm on top of the world.
Love that.
She loves me. She loves me every day, but that don't mean she likes me every day. Hey, sometimes it's not about athletic ability. Sometimes it's about intelligence. This whole game changed on one simple play. We all know that our kicker's range is not 51 yards. And we got a veteran quarterback there. When he dropped back and we already in his comfort zone, almost guaranteed 3 points, know that we can't take a sack. Know that for certain. When he's dropping back there and know he don't have the mobility that he needs, his man should be getting rid of the ball as quick as he can. If not, if ain't nothing open, throw it away. And he did hold on the ball and was going through his progressions. And I'm saying, what is he doing? He know he don't have the ability right now, being injured, to get out there. Now, when we get on that particular play, and you could just see it, when we missed that kick, that energized the Chargers and took all the wind out of our sails. Yeah, I would say, we came back and we made a real effort at it. But the final analysis is that play right there. If he throws that ball away and we get 3 points, that changes the whole complexity of the game.
Yeah, thank you for the call, Tony. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Good perspective. I forgot all about that missed field goal.
And it cost them 3 points in forcing Randy Bullock back for that 51-yarder.
Yeah.
And I said it at the time, I thought the offensive line cost the Titans 3 points in that moment. Here's where I'll go to the other side of this conversation. Justin Herbert had a rough game today. Didn't have his best performance. But at the end of the day, the Chargers have a special talent at quarterback that can roll out and make a pinpoint pass outside the numbers on the run to Mike Williams when they absolutely had to have a play to win that football game and find a way to win. This loss is not on Ryan Tannehill by any means.
Right.
But a Ryan Tannehill that isn't very mobile is not the same Ryan Tannehill, and it's not close to what LA had on the other side.
Yeah.
And that's where Titans fans, I think, are going to be frustrated today, Kevin, is that you just saw a franchise quarterback, a young franchise quarterback that is the future of where the NFL is heading on the other side of the field, and you're getting beat and you're getting sacked 4 times with your guy on the other end of this thing.
Yeah. And again, we can compare talent for talent, circumstance for circumstance, and you can make your assessment. You know, if you go player for player, it would be some you would gladly even swap it across. But Herbert is another one of these guys, him, Trevor Lawrence. And I think you had this conversation just the other day of who are some of the best young quarterbacks up and comings. And Trevor Lawrence, we saw another one today. That's these guys are the future of the National Football League. Tom Brady can't play forever. Aaron Rodgers can't play forever. Mahomes is still in the prime of his career, but it seems like he's been doing it for a long time. But it is time for a change of the new guard, of the old guard, I should say, in Herbert, Lawrence. These guys are the ones, man. They're for the future, and they are talented for a reason. So, again, but even still, it wasn't like you said he lit the world on fire today. He threw for 313 yards. I think he's over 4,000 for the year now.
Yes, yep.
But he had 2 timely picks today. Great plays by the Titans. Kevin Byard made a great play, and of course, the great play in the end zone. That was just a phenomenal play. But aside from that, he's a tough player, man.
He's the first player in NFL history with 4,000 plus passing yards in each of his first 3 NFL seasons.
Dang,
Justin Herbert is. And I think where Titans fans' frustration is going to come from is it's not Ryan Tannehill's fault that the Titans lost this game, but the Titans right now are in need of a quarterback that raises the level of everybody around him.
That's a good point.
And Ryan Tannehill is not that quarterback. Ryan Tannehill is a good quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He is not in that top tier that's going to raise the level of an offensive line that's having a lot of problems protecting him, wide receivers that aren't getting a remarkable amount of separation, and a run game that's predictable.
Yeah,
because you don't have that big-time playmaker on the outside. You just saw a player on the other side that has those weapons, but also raises the level of everybody else around him on the field.
Mm-hmm.
So don't take that as me saying this loss is on Ryan Tannehill in any way. I'm actually probably more in his corner than most people are going to be reacting to this thing. But at the end of the day, Justin Herbert is a special guy, and you got to tip your cap to what he was able to do late in that game. And I think fans are envious of a talent like that.
Well, let me say this then. Let me throw a little monkey wrench into that philosophy. What I'm going to say is when you have a continuity, a partnership, a collaboration with your offensive coordinator, it helps that quarterback success rate tremendously. Look how he performed under Arthur compared to these 2 years under Downing.
Right.
He's a different player, different philosophies. That is, to me, the biggest difference in Tannehill when he took over from Mariota in those 2 years when he led the league in fewest turnovers compared to most recent sample size, the last 2 years under Downing. That, to me, is the biggest difference in him and his ability. And I think you look at some of these other guys, now they're getting comfortable and finding out the strengths of their quarterbacks and catering what they do to those guys and to the talent around those guys, and helps them out. They're moving Herbert out the pocket because why? He's strong in it. They're having moving routes. Why? Because those guys are good at it. So they are doing some of those things. Downey's not always, in my opinion, not always doing that. I think he calls his offense and guys are expected to go execute. And there's nothing wrong with that, except sometimes you have to dictate your terms to the guy across from you. And I don't know if that's always the case.
615-737-1045, the number tonight on Titans Talkback, presented by League Company. League Company, all you need, online at leaguecompany.com. John in Brentwood up next tonight on the phone lines. What's going on, John?
Hey guys, I love your show, man.
Appreciate it.
This last 5 minutes was brilliant.
Appreciate you, man.
First of all, I want to say I have a sore thumb because I'm tired of deleting the Titans games on my DVR.
Yeah.
But I just had a theory, and you could shoot holes in it because it's probably wrong. When Tannehill ran that third down in for a touchdown, could he have just run a couple of inches and waited, took a chance on fourth down and ran that clock all the way down?
Yeah, honestly, for me, you don't want to tempt fate.
Yeah.
In that situation,
Yeah.
as much as the Titans have kind of struggled in those moments, personally, I don't think it's worth the risk to try to kind of take more time there and take a knee.
You got to go ahead and get the points, get the tie, and leave it up to your defense to get a stop. And truth be told, they were playing very well. The guy made another play on that 50-50 ball down the field. Williams made another great play. I mean, and that, again, sometimes they win by making more plays than you, and that sometimes it comes down to we make one more play than you do, and that was the case today. That was a big play on that drive.
Yeah, Justin Herbert's pass to Mike Williams, according to Next Gen Stats in AWS, had a 22% chance to be completed.
22% chance, and of course he makes it.
Target separation under a yard, 0.8 yards. Sideline separations, 0.7.
Wow.
According to Next Gen Stats, that's two Pro Bowl caliber players making a Pro Bowl caliber play.
There you go.
At the end of the day.
Sometimes they make plays, and nothing you can do about it.
Right. Appreciate the call, John. 615-737-1045 as we keep things rolling right along here on Titans Talkback. And we go next to Ray calling all the way in from Rochester, New York tonight here on Titans Talkback. What's going on, Ray? How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Great.
Good. How you doing, man?
Great. Thank you for taking the call. I have two things. One, I want to get your guys' opinion on Tannehill clearly got hurt early in the game, and obviously what the coaches are saying when they let him back in the game, we'd rather have a 70-60% Tannehill over 100% Malik. I disagree with that thought process, especially behind that offensive line. I thought Malik probably should have played the rest of the game. And then secondly, back to those 3rd and 2, I don't mind the passing, but sitting in shotgun and at least not doing a play action fake and having Derrick Henry on the field, both 3rd and 2s, I don't get it. I mean, you at least need to sell the run because that's what people think we're going to do, and then you can throw the ball. To not play fake on 3rd and 2 with Derrick Henry on the field makes zero sense anytime whatsoever ever. So I'll hang up and listen, but that's what I wanted to say.
Thanks, Ray. Appreciate the call.
Yeah, I will echo that earlier. The only thing I could think of, but again, to y'all's point, why is he not in there? At least get the perception that you're going to run. It's the only thing I could think of is they were thinking they don't have confidence that the offensive line can move the pile to get those yards.
Right. Yeah. And honestly, how many times have we seen them go to that read option play out of the shotgun to Tannehill in short yardage in order to kind of use the defense's aggressiveness against Derrick Henry kind of against them? Yeah. So certainly something that is a difficult decision, but I think you at least have to have him on the field, right? I mean, we've talked about this before. At the very least, if Derrick Henry's a distraction, that's better than him just not being out there on short yardage.
Yeah, sometimes your greatest asset is your reputation, right? Sometimes you be on the field just for the fear factor of what you're capable of is enough to create something for another teammate. in certain circumstances. Like, you know what I mean? So that might have been one, like you said, just a ball flake, throw it out there quick or something. But you eliminate him, and now it's like, okay, we focusing on everybody else. And I think that ultimately, again, we're here to crucify the coaches, right, and critique them and go overboard, and that's part of the job. But why isn't your best player on the field in critical moments?
Exactly.
You know.
And the other question from Ray is essentially about Malik Willis versus Ryan Tannehill at this point. Is Ryan Tannehill at 50% a better option than Malik Willis at 100%? I think behind this offensive line and with the big Week 18 game that you have looming, I'm not so sure.
Let me be devil advocate to that, saying it's a no unless you maneuver the offense to fit Malik Willis' strengths.
Sure.
If you just do what you did last time he was out there and try to make it him fit into that box of whatever Tannehill's strengths are, because we see he's not ready for that. It's not his skill set just yet. We've seen that in a small sample size pretty early. But when they have utilized some different formations, whether it be pistol and some other things with his strengths, I think, to y'all's point, yes, he can move. He adds another element of fear. But you got to use that other element of fear to your advantage, not just put him in that box and say, hey, be like number 17. That's not his game. And I feel like they try to put him in that box the first couple times out, trying to keep him under control. Don't lose this for us. We got a good running game. Our defense is playing good. Don't lose it. Instead of how can we utilize this guy's strengths to help our offense be more productive or score points and things of that nature. So, yes, it's a better option if you're just going to run the same offense you've been running.
And I think with a full week of preparation, there is very much a non-zero chance that happens.
Yeah.
Against the Houston Texans. And I say that not just because of, hey, what gives you the best chance to win at this point? What puts you at the best availability for Ryan Tannehill in Week 18 against Jacksonville? Right. Because ultimately the season is going to come down to Week 18 against Jacksonville more likely than not.
Yeah.
So if that means saving Ryan Tannehill for Week 18 and trying to build a little bit more around Malik Willis for 1 week, then fine. I think that's the decision that you make.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I just don't think there's a clear-cut answer either way.
Yeah, and as it's looking, if we're watching 2 7-5 teams, 7-5-1 teams with the Giants and the Commanders, thinking about the Cowboys in the middle of all that, another team fighting for that playoff life, they're coming here full speed. They're not sitting anybody out because they're going to need that win. So it's a lot to deal with in the last 3 games of this season. I think we talked about off air. 2-1 is a must. 1-2, and you're like, ooh. 0-3, you're out. I don't think so. But I've said it from the get-go. They got just enough of a head start, enough of the lead that I think they're getting. I think they win the division, get in. The division was weaker this year. Colts blew that big lead the other day. I think the Titans get in there limping, but they got in, and we'll see what happens when you get in.
615-737-1045, the number. William calling all the way from L.A. tonight on Titans Talkback is up next. Hey, William.
Hey, gentlemen. How y'all doing?
Great.
I just have 2 quick things. One, I just want to say that the game tonight, I can say kudos to the fans, the Titans fans. Half the fans there were Titans fans, so it's pretty amazing. I haven't seen that many Titans fans away at a away game. That many of them. So, and they were pretty loud too. So, and second thing is, it's no coincidence that Derek Carr. I'm from Vegas, so Raiders fans always tell me about Downing all the time, anyways. But there's no coincidence that Derek Carr and Ryan Tannehill had complete fall-offs the next year whenever Downing started calling play calls for each quarterback. So, I mean, Carr went from MVP season, and then the next year Downing started calling plays, and when he bombed out, and same thing happened to Tannehill last year. So, I don't think it's a coincidence. It's Downing. It's a problem. So, that's all I have.
Thanks for the call, William. Appreciate it.
Hey,
it's been a problem.
and consistently.
Right.
And again, I don't think Downey's is he the scapegoat? He probably will be at the end of the year.
Probably.
He's not the only reason. I mean, he can call plays, the best play, the right time, and then somebody gets beat inside for a sack. And we've seen that. That's not on him.
There are complex issues, and look, they turned the ball over 4 times last week against Jacksonville. Today wasn't as much about lack of execution as it was you couldn't convert 2 3rd-and-2s, and you got the best back in the league standing on the sidelines for it, and you're trying to throw the football.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
So that is the evaluation today for the Titans OC. We get your evaluation on the phone lines at 615-737-1045 with about 30 minutes left to take your phone calls. Ryan will lead us off after the break on Titans Talkback, presented by League Company. League Company, all you need online at leaguecompany.com. Much more on the way at Titans Talkback, 1045 The Zone. Chargers 17, Titans 14. The final score today in sunny Los Angeles. The Titans come back home next weekend looking for a win to get back above 500. They have lost 4 in a row. And for the next 30 minutes, we take your phone calls here on Titans Talkback. Presented by League Company. Facility managers need a reliable partner for their HVAC, plumbing, and electrical needs. They trust League Company's 24/7 service and their team of experts. Your next play, visit leaguecompany.com. That's League Company, all you need. 615-737-1045 is the phone number tonight if you want to jump in. We begin with Ryan in Kentucky up next with us here on Titans Talkback. Hey, Ryan.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good.
Good, man.
All right, I was calling because I see one glaring hole that nobody has mentioned yet, and that's the field goal kicker. I think that Randy Bullock has done an absolute horrible job this year from the Giants game to this game. I think that single-handedly probably cost us 2 games. And I think ever since a couple years back when we let go of Ryan Suckup, I think there's been a glaring hole ever since. I don't know if you draft one. I don't know if you get one in the free agency. I don't know how you fix it. But, I mean, we obviously fixed it, the punting situation with Stonehouse. So surely there has to be a way that we can get a reliable kicker in there so we can know that, hey, a 50-yarder, that should be pretty much a gimme, in this league. That's pretty much all I was calling to say.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Ryan. I think it's a little harsh on Randy Bullock. I mean, he's 12 of 15 this year.
Yeah.
He's 24 of 24 on extra points. This was his first attempt of the season beyond 50 yards, and he missed it. But Randy Bullock this year is 5 of 7 between 40 and 49 yards. He's mostly been fine, but I do think that a 51-yarder in the NFL needs to be more of a sure thing than what you've currently got. And I'll remind you, though, as well, that the only other options you have now are Josh Lambo, who was out on the street. That's the kind of kicker you're going to find that's available right now, who missed a kick in Lambeau. And then Caleb Shudak, who you have on the practice squad, the undrafted kicker out of Iowa, who missed an extra point in his one game as the full-time kicker. So for right now, Randy Bullock's probably the best option you have. I would expect them to continue to give Caleb Shudak a look, but at this point, there's really no other option other than the kid from Iowa.
Yeah, and I get the Giants game. I get that one. Today, 51 yards. And I don't know how many people have ever kicked before. It's not the easy job. Kicking that little ball between them goalposts, man, that's a tough job. And I'm not giving them a pass by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the further you get back, the less automatic it becomes. 50 yards is not automatic. And then there's only very few that are in that 80 to 90% range from 50 plus anyway.
Right.
And he obviously has a leg strength, but maybe the accuracy is not there, obviously. But that's not the cause of this game. That helped. That aided in the loss, but that wasn't the cause of the loss of this game.
And I'll correct myself. Caleb Shudak did not miss an extra point. Missed a kick in between 30 and 39 yards against Cincinnati. So that ultimately is your other option right now for this team, unless you go get somebody else that's out there available on the street. But I don't believe any of those guys are better options than Randy Bullock at this point. 615-737-1045. Cheryl is in Nashville up next with us tonight on Titans Talkback. Hey, Cheryl.
Hey, guys. So I'm just going to touch on a few things that you guys already briefly kind of went over. I've just been seeing a lot of Tannehill just absolute trashing him online, and I don't know what else fans want him to do. He's got both ankles hurt, no O-line that has contributed to those ankles, inconsistent receiver core, probably the most inconsistent receiver core in the league. They pulled Derrick Henry out when we need him most. Allegedly, Derrick Henry was fuming on the sidelines because of that. And we have predictable play calling, and I see a lot of people saying, well, put Malik in, and you guys touched on it earlier, but essentially with our current OC, what they do with Malik, and we haven't really been able to see his potential because of it, is because they try and fit him to what Ryan Tannehill does best, and we just don't have any creativity at offensive coordinator. And unfortunately, we just haven't seen a lot of willingness on behalf of the coaching staff to take any sort of real accountability. I mean, we try and, say it's not the O-line or the O-line's not the only thing. We don't accept some of the play calling that isn't there, and we try and shirk responsibility a little bit or push it off on something else. And Derrick Henry should be on there, and it just says a lot about the coaching staff. Speaking of Derrick Henry and his obvious frustration, I'll leave you guys with a question. If things continue down the path that they're heading down and there's no tangible or visible change, will we see Derrick Henry request a trade in the near future? And that's it from me.
Thanks for the call, Cheryl. Appreciate it. I don't think he would request a trade, but I do think the Titans would look at ways to move him.
Yeah.
If a new general manager comes in and wants to completely change everything. And it's just hard to know because we don't know who that guy is yet.
Aside from him, who else has added value? Him and draft picks. Who else has added value where you can get a lot of draft capital, maybe some position, some body equity? Who? Big Jeff?
Yeah.
Maybe?
That's about it.
That's about it.
And
Other than draft picks?
Got a year left on his deal after this one.
So you're essentially saying we're signing him to talking about Big Jeff, signing him to a big deal, knowing that he's about to be up. Derrick Henry's in the second year of his contract extension. Running backs do have a shelf life, unfortunately. There's only so much tire tread on the tires for running backs. Where are we at with him? Are we at the decline of his career?
Sure.
Or are we still at the pinnacle? Are we still at the peak where he is one of the elites?
Tell you this, as many issues as you've got on your offensive line.
And he's still second in the league rushing.
He's still second in the league. You have to have a certain kind of line and a certain quality of offensive line to get the best out of Derrick Henry.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have that, you're kind of spinning your wheels and you're taking away from other parts of the roster you could be investing in by paying so much to a running back that doesn't have the offensive line that you need in order for him to have that full effect.
Yeah.
These final 3 games, Kevin Dyson, are going to decide whether the Titans need to rebuild at the end of this year or they can retool.
Yeah.
If you win the division, if you can at least play in a playoff game and put yourself in the tournament, as Coach Mack always says, and give yourself a chance. Who knows what happens, right?
Right.
Right now it'd be Baltimore, who'd likely be coming to Nissan Stadium. You never know, right? It doesn't look great for this team to have a lot of success, down the stretch. They're not playing their best football right now, but that's a different conversation than if Jacksonville wins the division. Because at that point, I don't think anybody is safe on that offense going into this season with a new general manager.
I don't think so either. I think the only one you could say probably would be Tannehill just because of his number.
Right.
That'd be about it. And maybe Derrick Henry would be 2. After that, Traylon Burks because he just got drafted.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're looking at guys that are on rookie contracts. You're not paying very much.
Mm-hmm.
And outside of that, 17, 22, Robert Woods.
Yeah.
I mean, Nick Westbrook-Akine, Austin Hooper. I mean, you're talking about everybody on that team.
Yeah.
Especially the offensive side of the ball. This is an audition these last 3 games.
Yeah. Okonkwo, I think he's in.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He's cheap for his production.
Right.
He's got like 25, 27 catches, something-ish. But he's averaging right around 15 yards a catch, too, I believe.
And he set the Titans rookie receiving record for tight ends today, breaking Ben Troop's record with his game today.
He's trending up.
He is.
There are some positive things on offense, but
Sure.
I think to the point of the caller is, at what point do you say we need more than just Derrick Henry? And is he just enough, especially at this point in his career? Is it enough? Do we go ahead and part ways, get as much you can for the value of what he brings to the table to add more to the offense or more to the team? I don't know, because it's hard to say, man. If you'd told me he was going to have a career that he's had, but 5 years ago, I'd have told you, man, there's no way.
It's incredible.
Because running backs are almost they're almost obsolete in the National Football League because it's turned into such a passing league. He's in an era of like the Eddies and the Jamal Lewises and the Jerome Bettises, that era of running backs. He's kind of a throwback, if you will, and there's not too many like him, and Nick Chubb and Jacobs too. At this fact, bigger backs that can run, physical. they're rare. And so is he rare enough that somebody else would say we're going to turn our philosophy into a run-first style offense as opposed to what we're seeing where quarterbacks is the norm? I mean, Herbert threw 42 times today.
Yeah.
That's normal. Like now, I feel like between 35 and 40 is like where quarterbacks are throwing now.
You've played teams for the last month who are perfectly content just throwing away the run game and throwing it all over the yard.
Throwing all over.
Yeah, that's right.
You know? So I don't know. I don't see them necessarily parting ways with him. I think because of his ability, because of his home run ability as well, he's still a home run hitter. I think before you do that, you say maybe we add some components on the edges and we shift philosophy in our offensive play calling. I'm not saying necessarily downing out of here, which I think is probably the popular opinion is that he is gone. I'm saying philosophy change as opposed to run first, play action second, now throw the football.
Right.
That philosophy might have to shift. Well, should shift anyway.
615-737-1045. One last call for phone calls, and on the other side, we go rapid fire on the phones and finish up the final 20 minutes of tonight's show. It's Titans Talkback presented by League Company. Chargers 17, Titans 14 today in L.A. One final segment tonight on Titans Talkback, presented by League Company on 104.5 The Zone. Titans fall to the LA Chargers 17-14. We look ahead as well to the matchup with the Texans coming up here in just a couple of minutes to close out tonight's edition of the show. Brought to you as always by League Company, all you need online at leaguecompany.com. 615-737-1045 is our number. Mike in Murfreesboro is up next on tonight's show. Hey, Mike.
What's going on, guys? How y'all doing?
How you doing, man?
Tighten up.
Tighten up.
My comment, I don't know if we're in rapid fire, but my comment has to do with Todd and Ryan. Ryan never has one. He never will. He's a Nathaniel, straight up. Everybody on our team and most other teams, even in the fans, know it. Sorry to say that. But he's not going to get us there. We should just throw Malik in and let him eat. That team needs to support Derek. And Todd Downing and Mr. Tannehill always try to make Mr. Tannehill look like our leader. And I know he's a great guy. I love this guy. He does so much for our town. But he's not a leader. Derek Henry's leader at team. That's who they need to support. If they put Malik in, he's not going to be great, but he will help support Derek, and that'll pick the rest of the guys up. They're going to pick up to help Malik. So tighten up. Y'all be good. The king is the deal.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate the call. We will see if Malik gets that opportunity on Saturday against Houston. But I think if he does, it's because Ryan Tannehill isn't healthy enough to go.
Right.
I think we're far from Malik being the guy. I think he still probably needs another year next year to sit behind somebody else before he has the opportunity to be that guy. He has improved, though.
Well, unless you start looking at things that he's really good at and start making him fit into the box, in which is, this is our offense, these are our plays, you learn them our way. I think you look at the history, like I go back even as far as Randall Cunningham, Steve Young, Michael Vick, they catered their skill sets around that offense. They utilized the skills that those quarterbacks had. Even Lamar Jackson, guys even more recent, that you look at what they're really good at and you mold your offense around that, and you sprinkle in some staples, our go-tos, gotta haves, we do every weeks. But you also put in those things that are unique for him and his skill set that combines or connects with what your strengths are. So how can we utilize him with Derrick Henry's strengths? And that's where they're a year away because they're still learning him. They're still learning his ability.
Right.
So could he be the starter next year? Maybe, if you are looking at making this offense to cater to his strengths.
Sure.
That's my opinion.
And at this point, Malik Willis, in all of his appearances with the Titans in 5 games, is 16 of 34 for 171 yards. 48 of those came on one screen pass to Chika Okonkwo against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
He's still got a lot to prove.
And again, it's under 50% completion. And with that, again, I feel like they're still trying to fit him in a box.
Yes.
He's not an under center every snap type guy. He does not, to me, he's not.
Sure.
I think he's a shotgun, see what's going on. His size alone kind of dictates that. He's got the kind of same kind of height, size of Drew Brees, where he spent the bulk of his career in shotgun, especially late in his career, where he can see the defense and see where to go with the football, anticipating throws. So, but again, we'll see how they cater to it. But I will say this: now let's talk about Drew Brees. One thing I said at the beginning: why are we not using quick game when you got a limping quarterback?
Right.
Drew Brees was a master at that. Aaron Rodgers master. Tom Brady. I'm not saying Tannehill. I feel like he can do quick game. I mean, every quarterback in his right mind can do it.
Wouldn't hurt at this point.
Right?
Try something.
Help him out.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We go next to GE and Brentwood on the phone lines tonight here on Titans Talkback. Hey, GE.
How are you guys doing? Just to pick up on 2 or 3 of the earlier points, and your female caller 2 or 3 calls ago made a lot of good points. But Coach Max would say, we got a dude problem right now. The dudes that we paid a lot of money aren't out there. And as a result, the offensive line is definitely the weak point. We've got a guy that was drafted as a guard playing left tackle, perhaps the second or third most important position in the league. And I'd be interested in knowing a statistic that I've often wondered ought to be kept track of, which is what's the salary cap for the team you put on the field? The salary for the current year for the team you're putting on the field. I would imagine 40 to 50% of our cap for this year is not playing right now, which has created unbelievable challenges. That being said, this team, and I think Malik's a great kid, and he may be the future, but it's not going to be the next 3 games. If he plays either of the next 3 games, it'll only because Ryan can't go.
Right.
And it's because this team, including what Todd Downey calls it, is a reflection of what the coach wants. And guess what? We almost stole a game today with almost no talent on the field relative to where we started the season. And yet, there we were, 4 seconds from winning the game. Why? And the Titans fans really need to get up to speed on this. We've probably got the best coach in the league. And that hurts me. I went to the University of Michigan. Do you know how hard it is for me to say that?
Yeah.
About a guy that went to Ohio State? Ohio State's getting ready to come after him probably next year if Michigan beats him for the 3rd time, because their coach won't be able to stay. And he could go – if he got fired and lost his job, he'd have a job 15 minutes later. And I think we all ought to be thankful for the fact that even with nothing, and essentially we could have gotten beaten by 3 or 4 touchdowns today, there we were down to the last few seconds. I think that it's been a horrible last 4 or 5 weeks. Frankly, 3 or 4 of the weeks before that, it was awful to watch them win. But because they're limping along, just trying to win the game by 1 or more points. But it is heartening for a franchise that's had so many bad coaches to have somebody that everybody else in the league respects, and I don't have any doubt that he hasn't lost the locker room. And I think they're going to play hard to the end, and I think we're going to get to the playoffs. I don't know if we can't get any more help on the line, whether we're going to be able to win any games in the playoffs. But, this situation is complicated. And, of course, it's mostly complicated because with the salary cap, you can't pay A.J. Brown. And then you can't pay Big Jeff next year.
Yeah.
And you can't keep paying your quarterback. This is like putting together a good stock portfolio. And you've got to allocate your assets appropriately for each position. And it's going to be interesting to see what our new GM does, but he's coming into a good situation. We're just a few pieces away from being a team that nobody wants to play. Yeah. I appreciate you guys taking my call.
Absolutely.
And Merry
Thanks.
Christmas.
Yeah, we are a little up against it here in our last segment. Appreciate the call. And I'll just make the one point before we move on and try to get more people in here, Kevin, that talking about the salary cap math of who's playing and who's not and kind of the dudes. Ryan Tannehill is 18% of your salary cap this year.
That's a big number.
And you did that because you wanted Julio Jones.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where you're at.
So, right quick, I know we're going to these last few calls, but your top 5 being paid right now is Tannehill, Lewan, Henry, Byard.
Against the cap this year, it is Tannehill is first. Bud Dupree is second.
Dupree was, okay, I had Dupree's 5.
$19.2 million cap hit. Derrick Henry is third at a $9.3 million cap hit. Danico Autry fourth.
What?
At $8.6 million. And Robert Woods fifth. You get bonuses and based on the cap number of where they are.
Ahead of Lewan?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, Lewan is Lewan's a little bit further down that list. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. I stand corrected.
Well, actually, I should say on injured reserve on that cap, which is judged a little bit differently. Lewan at 14.6.
Okay.
I was counting in a different pot now on the IR cap and all of that. Yeah.
All right, but okay. Woo, I was about to say Lewan.
No, I'm with you. We're tracking.
Okay.
Well, we are just about out of time here, and before we get out of here, we take a look at Saturday and a big one at Nissan Stadium. We look ahead to next week's opponent in the Look Ahead presented by Eurofix. And I want to remind you as well, again, that Eurofix repairs everything European that you drive and below dealer pricing. ASE certified technicians, a local company that has serviced Middle Tennessee for over 2 decades. Visit EurofixOnline.com. And next week, the Titans head back home. It is a quick turnaround to take on the Houston Texans. That's noon on Christmas Eve, Saturday in Nissan Stadium. The Titans radio pregame coverage beginning at 11 here on the Zone at 9 a.m. And that is our look ahead presented by Eurofix. And likely Ryan Tannehill at quarterback, but maybe the exact same situation as last time where Tannehill finishes the game and it's Malik against Houston.
And Derrick Henry goes off for 200 plus.
Well, that would be nice.
That would be nice. I will say this, though. The Houston Texans, even though they only have one win this year, they took the Chiefs to the brink. That just shows you how close this league is between the haves and have-nots, the good and the bad. And that old cliche, any given Sunday, is so true. It's hard to maintain that same momentum, that same steam all 17 weeks of a season. So this is a nice little challenge. It's not just going to be, we're going to get over this loser streak. They still got to go out there and perform this week.
Titans radio coverage is produced by Philip Noel and Brad Willis. Our studio producer is Joe Hunkapiller. Scoreboard producer Lucas Panzica. Promotions director of Titans Radio is Rich Ferris. Director of sales is Hunter Rice. General manager Allison Warren. Operations managers Charlie Cook and Paul Mason. The executive producer of Titans Radio is Rhett Bryan. 17-14, the final score once again. The LA Chargers over the Tennessee Titans. We're back at it post-game, a Christmas Eve edition of Titans Talkback next week. For Kevin Dyson, Brett Batchelor, our producer, I'm Will Boling. We'll talk to you next time on 104.5 The Zone.